if you were going to advise a law firm when it comes to investing in technology, what advice would you give?
Sure. So thanks for the question, Mike, and thanks for having me. I would say four things. And just so the audience knows my perspective, I'm now consulting externally, but I've been in-house at four different law firms. And so most of what I'm talking about is drawn from those experiences of actually being on the ground in your shoes, having to roll out technology and make selections. So the first thing I would say is you need to really start by defining the problem. It's really important to see what's out there, to keep an eye on all of the new technologies that are coming out, because sometimes you don't know what's even possible until you learn that. But you definitely want to be guided by what problem or challenge are you looking to solve internally. That's going to keep you from getting distracted by a term you'll probably hear a couple times today, but by the shiny new toys out there, to really focus on how do you make an impact at the firm you're at. And you need to be thinking about how you're going to solve that problem. The second thing I would say is you need to think really carefully about whether the solution is technology, process, or both. So if your challenge is that nobody will share information and you bring in a technology that is going to give them an easier way to submit information, that might help. It's making it a little easier. But if you haven't addressed the challenge of how to incentivize people to share, then that's really just going to be an easier way for no one to do what you ask them to do. So you really want to step back and think through how are you going to incentivize the right behavior, build out the processes behind the scenes so that you've got kind of a stable foundation for the technology to sit on. The third thing I would always advise is to talk to other users. So it's all well and good to hear from the technology vendor, and they've got a great perspective on, a broad swath of clients and what they've seen work. But asking to speak to someone, ideally at a firm like yours, although it doesn't have to be, to see what's working in practice. What did they think would be the best feature, but it turns out that didn't work at their firm? What did they not see coming that's actually been transformational? That can really give you examples of how to go about it at your firm that are going to be very beneficial. And then the last thing I would say is think very carefully about what systems you already have in place. So it's not to say that you can't end up with systems that have parallel sources of data. Sometimes the benefits outweigh the downsides and it's still worth doing. But you don't want to have that happen by accident, where you're bringing on a CRM system that doesn't talk to your client matter database or doesn't talk to your experience database. You need to think about what's going to be what I've heard referred to as the essential source of truth. Like, where are you going to keep the best data and how are you going to make sure everybody knows that?